All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order, that being the regular council meeting of Warwick Township Council, January 12th, 2026, starting time 3:30. I remind council of disclosure of pecuniary interest or conflict of interest. Does anybody have one they'd like to state at the following time? Seeing none, very good. I want to welcome everybody who's joining us through our Warwick Township YouTube link. And now I'm going to do the acknowledgement of ancestral land. We acknowledge that the Township of Warwick is located on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, as well as the many Indigenous nations in Ontario whose footsteps have marked them for centuries. We also wish to acknowledge that we are situated on Treaty 29 and Treaty 25 territories signed by Chippewa chiefs. We offer our respect and gratitude for these lands. Council, could I take everybody to number 5 on the agenda? That's minutes of previous council meetings, the minutes being from the meeting of December 15th, 2025. Somebody have any questions on those minutes at all? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion. Councillor Manning moves, seconded by Deputy Mayor Kallenberg. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And there was no business arising from those minutes. Thank you. And then we're going to go to 7, council. Scheduled meetings and events. That's an FY to everybody. 7A. Anybody have any questions on 7A? Seeing none. We'll go on to 7B. Same formats. Does anybody have any questions on 7B? It's more of a FYI as well. Seeing none? Very good. Thank you. We're going to go to 8 on the agenda then, council. We're going to go to councilors' commitments and items. As far as commitment dates go, does anybody have anything they wish to update? Deputy Mayor Kallenberg.
I will be away from March 23rd to the 25th.
Deputy Mayor, anybody else at this time? Okay. If there's any changes, please let the clerk know and we'll update the list. Thank you. So we're going to go to councilors' verbal reports. I'm going to start with Councillor Manning today. Councillor Manning.
I have nothing today, thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Kallenberg.
I have nothing today as well.
Thank you. Councillor Westgate.
And I have nothing today.
Councillor Morris.
I hate to ruin the streak, but Kyle, what have we Public Works got planned for the corner of Sunset and Confed, that sinkhole? I'm getting a lot of questions of what we're gonna do about it or what the plan is and when.
Thank you. So we were working with the contractor to review the conditions. That intersection or that area that where the sinkhole is has already been dug up once and it seems to have resettled almost again to the same depth as before. So we're working with them to come up with a plan to see if we can figure out where the material is going and get it repaired. We consider this part of warranty work for the initial road repair.
Well, thank you. Could we maybe throw a little gravel on the shoulder there? Because what people are doing is they're driving around it. And now the shoulder's gotten potholes that are really deep. Could we throw a little gravel in there maybe, if it's possible?
Yep, the guys have it as ongoing. Last week they put some in on Thursday and they'll continue to do so until we can repair it.
Anything else, Councillor Morris?
Oh, that's all. Thanks.
Very good. That's an issue that I've been talking to staff about as well. It's kind of sad that we had to call our guys out on the 24th of December because we were losing that road. They have been looking at it and trying to keep it in somewhat good state of repair, but it is a contractor responsibility. And I know that Kyle has been working along with Trevor on that and trying to get the contractor to come back and perform their due diligence that's needed. So thank you for bringing that up. Seems like I do this every council meeting, but it's a good news story. I'd like to congratulate the U18s for winning the International Silver Stick, that being the East Lambton Eagles. And I'd also like to congratulate the U15 team for being finalists this year in the International Silver Stick. So congratulations to both teams on a well-fought battle. Both games came down to 1 goal. So congratulations to both teams, the coaches, the trainers, and everybody that's situated with the team. Okay. Let's go to number 9. Let's go to staff. We have a verbal update from Trevor Jarrett, CAO Treasurer, on Good Roads Conference registration. Trevor.
Thank you. It's just that Good Roads has come out. The hotels haven't opened up yet. But in light of that, it's going to be ahead of time. I'm just trying to get a gauge of who plans on going and who's not. I've heard from 4 or 5 council members now. Just please get back to me as soon as you can. That way we aren't going to be locked out of rooms. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that. We're gonna just skip a little bit here. We do have a timed event at 3:40. We've got 5 minutes before that. We also do have a presentation today, but I don't think 5 minutes is gonna do it. I talked to Mr. Goodhill, and I don't think that's gonna quite do it. So what we're gonna do, gang, is we're gonna move ahead to number 11 on the agenda if we could. Let's go to accounts. First off, 11A. Did anybody have any questions on the GL report? Seeing no questions. Did anybody have any questions on the accounts payable? That would be 11B. Questions? In that case, I would entertain a motion to approve both the GL and the accounts payable if council so fit. Thank you. Councillor Westgate is moving that, seconded by Deputy Mayor Kallenberg. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Let's go to number 12, the consent agenda, if we can, council. The items are A to F. Non-action correspondence, A. Did anybody have any questions or comments on non-action correspondence? Seeing none. How about minutes from the special council meeting of December 9th, 2025? Any questions, comments on that? Seeing none. We have the biannual fire report. C. Did anybody have any questions on the fire report? Seeing none. And then we go to D, the summer student funding application update. Very good. And then we have the Nauvoo and Confederation intersection project, and that's a FYI to be dealt with at budget. Does anybody have any questions on that report? Yes, Councillor Morse.
Well, the other thing I'm wondering is it's a large chunk of money. If we could, like the lights, from what I figured out, was only gonna be another 75,000 to put the traffic lights actually in. I think we should look at that as well. Being that most of the times that I've seen near misses at that corner is because people can't drive and they think it's a four-way stop and they pull in front of people. That I think until we get some kind of a traffic situation there that'll actually stop the traffic, I don't think we'll have this improvement will maybe improve the safety or not. And I think that should be our top priority.
Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Chisholm, did you want to comment on that at all? I know you've done a lot of work on this project. I know it's going to budget.
Lambton County has done a traffic study and they're currently reviewing the numbers to see if it meets the warrant conditions for signalization. We are waiting on the report back from their engineer.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And then we have F, and that's the gravel road conversion, and that's an FYI as well. Does anybody have any questions? Councillor Morse?
Kyle, I requested this. Thank you very much. I don't know if I can totally read the chart. I might have to get you to help me with a couple of spots there, but thank you for doing that.
All right, thank you. Anybody else on that one? See no one? Very good. Then folks, I would entertain a motion to receive and file A to F if council saw fit, please. Councillor Morris is making that motion, seconded by Councillor Manning. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We got 2 or 3 minutes, so let's make use of it. Let's go to 13A, action correspondence. The first one is 01-31. It's a funding request from East Lambton School for some playground equipment. How does council wish to deal with this? Yes, Deputy Mayor Kallenberg.
Refer it to budget, please.
Refer to budget, seconded by Councillor Morris. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. The second one is 0132. This is a letter that we received from the Catholic Women's League, and it's a complaint to do with the screen and technology at the ELCC. We have a diligence, obviously, to discuss this, and we also need to get back to these folks. I also had a complaint from some folks from the school, from the Catholic school, that had the same problem with technology and so on, just to be very upfront and honest. So again, maybe Ryan, maybe we could ask you to speak to this letter in fairness to you.
Thank you, Mayor Case. Just a couple points I guess I could mention here, that there were 2 of the 10x10 panels that were popped out, but the screen, it did work as intended. There's no distortion or any damage to the actual screen, but definitely an inconvenience with those panels popped out. They're back in place now. We're investigating some solutions on how to protect the screen to prevent the panels from popping out again in the future. And then also what the best way to put them back into place when they are popped out. Unfortunately, the ones that were popped out, the top of the screen, a little bit too high. We can't get it safely with the ladder. So it does require another solution to put them back in. We used a scissor lift, which might be something that we could look at purchasing in the future, or coming to an agreement with a local contractor who has a scissor lift that would allow us to use it should that happen again. Or potentially, I guess, a scaffolding system we could certainly purchase and build too. Wouldn't be the recommended option, but again, we're looking at solutions to safely put those back up. OES, who designed the screen, installed the screen, they're also in the process of getting me a quote to do a cover for that to protect it. The cage isn't necessarily a good option. It would distort the video, the ability to see the video. The plexiglass also it's an option according to them. You just simply can't get a large enough piece to cover that. You're going to have a seam. You're going to also potentially distort the video. What they're quoting me out on right now is a retractable, like heavy mesh system that would go up and down based on when in use. So for example, we have a sporting event going on there. We can drop that mesh down, cover the screen, still should look fine, serve the purpose of protecting the screen. And then when we need the LED screen, retracting that back up. Hopefully I can get a quote. I've been told I can get one within a week. They should have something to me, possibly something we can consider at budget time. So that sort of addresses the LED screen. The sound system, that's another beast in itself as well. We did do walkthroughs with the organizers the day of the show, showed them everything that our system's capable of. It all worked. They signed off. Everything was good. Based on the letter, it didn't function as it should have that evening. Looking at ways to address that as well. But, you know, I should probably note our sound system isn't really designed for those types of productions. They're meant for your single speaking engagements. You're making announcements. It's not necessarily designed for entertainment or theatrical productions. I guess we could look at ways to improve that system in the future to accommodate these types of events. CWL puts on a great event that's big for our community for sure. Happy to certainly discuss with them, come up with ideas directly with them that they feel may work. I think that's always a great option to discuss with our actual users too. But that's just something that I wanted to mention.
So I think the appropriate action is a letter back to the organization, apologizing for the fact that it wasn't in good repair and maybe mentioning the things that Ryan has just mentioned to get it back in working condition. So I think maybe if we could have a motion to direct Ryan to send the correspondence back to the folks. Yes, Joe.
We charge rental for that sound system?
We do have an AV fee attached as one of our fees for service for the gymnasium, yes.
Now, do we make the users well aware that the limited capabilities of the system? Like, were they aware, like, I'm just thinking if they rented this product and it didn't work and that's what they're expecting, maybe we should do a reimbursement on that as well.
I would probably say that, yes, they were aware. We do outline the capabilities of our sound system for every event. We do recommend that those types of events should seek professional sound companies to come in and do that provide mixing boards, better sound equipment, better speakers for those types of events.
Thanks.
Councilor Morris.
Yeah, Ryan, you mentioned that you done a walkthrough with them in the morning of that thing with the organizers and everything was working then. Is that a standard practice? Like, I know we had problems with the St. Pete's trivia night too. Is this a standard practice that we do all the time? If not, I think it should be.
Yes, thank you for the question. Yes, it is standard practice. We try to get everybody in to do these walkthroughs, especially when it involves our sound equipment.
Councilor Westgate.
Just one question. The sound system worked fine at the end of the show too. It was just a little bit during the middle? Was it the way they were working or using it?
I can't say directly because I wasn't there, so I don't know how it worked or how it didn't work necessarily. But our sound system, which they were aware of, if we have 4 microphones, so we have 2 microphones, 2 lapels. They only ever work with 2. You can do a scenario of 2 at a time, so you can run 2 microphones or a microphone and a lapel or 2 lapels. So how we had it set up, skit number 1 uses 2 of the options. When skit 1 leaves the stage, they turn them off. The next skit comes on using the other 2, and it should work fine. So there is the potential that the group that left the stage didn't turn off a microphone, which caused some of the distortion. That's just one idea. But again, I don't know. I wasn't there, so I'm going to take their word on it that the system didn't work as they intended. And we're certainly going to look at ways to remedy that for the future.
Sure. Anything else? No, anybody else? So again, I think the appropriate action is a letter of apology, follow up by Ryan with the organization to make sure that we try not to let this happen again and again, go through maybe the process with them again. And we definitely have to get that screen fixed. The screen's been not working correctly for months now, so it's something that needs to be done. So we can get the proper equipment in to do it. But that's the problem. When you rent something out and you advertise it to have these technical abilities and it doesn't perform, that causes an issue. And people are spending the money renting that with the understanding that it's going to work. I know we try to go through it with them, but the screen, there's not much you can do when there's missing tiles. So I think Councillor Manning brought up a good question about the compensation as far as you're paying for it. So maybe that's something, Ryan, you could discuss with the folks as well. And I know that we also have had some requests for some not here today in writing for a bit of a discount from one of the other groups too, that the equipment didn't run as well. And that'll be coming later on. So, okay. So maybe have a motion to have the letter sent. Thank you, Councillor Morris, seconded by Councillor Manning. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much. Okay. We're a little bit off track, but we're going to get ourselves back on the tracks here right now. He never gets to where he needs to be here. So we do have a timed event today, and it's an application, and it's number 0325 Blue the Coop Limited, 8673 Egremont Road. And it's a zoning procedure. I'm now going to announce the following. The next item on council's agenda is the holding of the public meeting with respect to an application and council's consideration of a bylaw to amend Warwick zoning bylaw 121 of 2012 on lands known municipally as 8673 Egremont Road in the township of Warwick. The purpose of this amendment is to permit a proposed surplus farm dwelling severance. I'm now going to ask the clerk the following: the method of giving public notice and the date that the notice was given. Madam Clerk.
Notices were sent by regular mail and posted on the property on December 22nd, 2025.
Thank you. Any person who wishes to make oral or written submissions or request further notice of the passing of the bylaw should give their name and full mailing address to the clerk before leaving today. Also, all persons wishing to address the bylaw should ask their questions through myself, the chair. I'm now going to proceed. The clerk will now read any written submissions. Is there any written submissions?
Any submissions that were received are included on the planner's report.
Okay, but is there any we should read because people are tuning in here? Okay, very good. The planner will now give the report. Will, would you please come up? Will is filling in today. Johan is not with us. So Will come up and read his report. Will, you know how the system works. You just hit the button and it'll make you live, okay? Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I'm doing my best to fill in for Johan. I've reviewed his report. I've not been out to the property. The zoning amendment today is a zoning in support of a potential future severance application for a surplus farm dwelling severance. So the zoning is unique in that you're essentially considering whether or not the severance application is appropriate even before it has been received. So on the map there, you see the zoning for the property in question. Primarily, it is zoned A1. A portion has a EPH, Environmental Protection Hazard Overlay, for lands abutting the Isles Drain. The rear portion of the property, which is wooded, is zoned Environmental Protection Woodlot. Can we have the next slide? So this is on the left-hand side, standing in the northwest corner of the property. The house is there on the left, and there's two driveways. This is a westerly driveway in front of you, and then the other driveway is off to the left-hand side of the picture. And then walking down that lane and past that car, you find yourself in the location of the second drawing on the right, and that is looking from the west side of the property across to the house and to the outbuilding. Next slide. So the request is to change the zoning to a no dwelling agriculture on the retained portion of the farm, leaving the environmental protection hazard and the environmental protection woodlot as is, also leaving the A1 zone as is on the proposed severed lot. So the no dwelling agricultural zone would prohibit a dwelling, and that would fulfill a condition of consent that the province requires for surplus farm dwelling severances. Next slide. So there you have again the A1 zoning that would stay on the proposed severed lot. You see there the house, and on the right and in the bottom left corner there is the shed, and on the bottom edge is a solar panel array. The retained lands would go into that no dwelling agricultural zone. So the severed lot would be 2 acres, which meets the zoning and official plan requirements, given the minimum zone requirement and the private sewage system disposal requirements for this property being on septic. The lot would be 85 meters in frontage, I believe that says, which would also meet the minimum for a residential lot in the A1 zone. For the NDA zone, the retained farm, the frontage would only be 65 meters as opposed to the zoning standard of 150. And the retained lands would only be 18.7 hectares roughly, or 46 acres roughly. Whereas the requirement of that, the standard requirement of that zone is 38 hectares, which is approximately 94 acres. Now, there was a memo that was sent out some time ago indicating that with a surplus farm dwelling severance, you don't necessarily have to meet that farm lot size requirement in the official plan or the zoning bylaw. So you don't necessarily have to have the full 38 hectares or 40 hectares to sever a lot. In this case, the lot's only 18.7 hectares. And some of that land also is impeded for normal cash crop use by the Isles Drain, as well as a portion of the property that is wooded. I'd just guess around 6 acres or something. So that is fairly substantial. That's quite a bit below that normal standard of 94 acres. And in Johan's opinion, as well as my own, that also is a reason, even standing on its own, that we might say that this parcel is just too small to sever further, even though it's only taking off an existing surplus farm dwelling and land that's not farmed. Next slide, please. So Johan has done some investigation, and I have not checked into this, but Johan is satisfied that it is in fact a surplus farm dwelling to the applicants. So there's no concerns in that respect. But in addition to the lot being rather small in order to sever, there are MDS compliance issues. Provincial guidance gives the option of whether or not you apply MDS to surplus farm dwelling severances when the barn is already on a separate lot from that house. In the case of when it's on the retained lands, definitely you have to apply it. But in the case of where there's already a lot line between that house and the livestock operation, it's optional under the provincial guidance. In the county official plan and in the local official plan, your official plan and the county official plan both elect to apply it. That is a practice that has been established in the agriculture community in Lambton for a number of decades. And over the last number of years, we have taken that at times to the farming community, to the County of Lambton Agricultural Advisory Committee to ask, is that in fact what we want to continue to do here in Lambton? Because it's not necessarily required by the province. And we have had that confirmed by the agricultural community on various occasions that yes, that you should not be allowed to sever a lot if it's in proximity to a neighbor's livestock barn. So in this case, there wasn't an analysis done by a consultant that looked at all the barns in 750 meter radius. And there were a number where it came up that they confirmed no livestock. I'm not concerned that those would create an MDS setback that wouldn't be met in any event, but I just note that just because there is no livestock doesn't mean an MDS setback shouldn't be applied. So there are a number of livestock facilities surrounding this property, but there are two in particular that do not comply with the MDS setback. So the one is that you see here to the northwest of the proposed severed lot, 8590 Egremont Road, is a swine operation. The required MDS is 560 meters based on the livestock capacity there. And the actual separation is only 415. So there's a deficit of 145 meters in addition to the 415 meters separation that actually does exist. The second barn is also to the northwest. Thank you. A little bit closer to the site though. This is a chicken layer barn at 8644 Egremont Road. And the required setback is 375 meters. The actual setback is only approximately 192 meters. So that's not half, but a little bit more than half of the required setback. So there is an MDS non-compliance situation here, as well as the fact that the farm is already quite small to start with, and the retained lot would be substantially below the A1 zone minimum requirement. For those reasons, we don't disagree that the farm is surplus, but for those reasons, it doesn't meet all the additional criteria for being severed. So based on the fact that the proposed severance doesn't meet proposed policy, we would recommend that the zoning, which is in support of the anticipated severance, that the zoning be denied. If council wishes otherwise, then it should direct us to the department to prepare a bylaw, and it should also include special provisions to address the fact that the lot would be undersized and the MDS deficiencies.
Okay, thank you very much for your report, Will. The process goes like this. We will now hear for those in favor of the bylaw and then from those against. So is there anybody here that would like to speak in favor of this particular item? Yes, come on up. And what we'll do is we'll kick you out of that chair for a second and we'll bring Colin and Jen up here. Colin and Jen Van Kessel will be speaking in favor and we'll have them come up here, and there's two chairs. And then after that, members of council will have their opportunity to ask questions as well, just so everybody knows. So I'll let you guys get settled in. It's pretty simple. You just hit the button and then you're live. The camera will catch you and the microphone. So welcome, folks. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon. We are here today representing Flew the Coop Limited. We have applied for rezoning on a surplus dwelling from agriculture to residential located at 8673 Egremont Road. As third generation farmers, we are a family farming operation that resides across the road from this property at 8644 Egremont Road. Our livestock operation and operating agriculture land in our community is our livelihood. We purchased this farm in January of 2025 with the hopes to build a layer barn on it, but we were denied the building permits. The previous owners of the home lived there until May of 2025. As we are in the business of agriculture and not rental homes, we have chosen not to have any tenants in the house since the previous owners have moved out. Both of us would love nothing more than to give a family the opportunity to live in the rural community that we love living in so much. And this is one of the main reasons why we would like to see the severance go through.
Just a couple more points I'd like to discuss too. And I find if you go a little bigger bird's eye view on these properties, there's already actually 3 other houses that are closer to these barns, 2 of them being already severance properties under 5 acres. That's to the layer barn. If you go to the pig operation, that's the next one farther northwest of the property. There's actually 4 dwellings that are closer to that property, which is 3 of them are already severance properties. So I guess our question is if it was already done once before, why can't it be done again?
Okay, well, thank you very much. What we'll do, Will, is we will get your opinion on that and your professional opinion on that. But right now, I'm going to open it up. You folks stay where you are. I'm going to open up questions to council because there's nobody here that's opposed, I don't think. I know you're not opposed. Okay, very good. So I'll open it up to questions from council. Does anybody have a question to start us off? Councilor Morris?
Yeah, Colin and Jen, thank you for coming to talk to us. You mentioned these severances that are already close to the barn or closer to the barn. Were they there before the barns were built or after the barns were built?
I can only speak of the one because we actually own the property. It was severance after. The barns were there before the house.
Kyle, if you don't mind, maybe what I'll do is ask you to give up your seat for a second and bring Will to that microphone, and then I can leave the Van Kessels where they are as well. Anybody else on council have any questions? Deputy Mayor.
This is directed to Will. You said there's only 46 acres left after we take the 2 acres off. But did we take into consideration the 2 acres the 402 took many years ago off that parcel of land?
Please.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. No, I don't think that did come into consideration. We're just looking at the situation as it is now. Even with the 2 acres, if we added that back in, I think still the size is a concern. Do you want me to address that earlier question? So with respect to the previous severances, yeah, I do recognize that there are oftentimes many situations where you have pre-existing situations. They obviously were established at a time before there were MDS guidelines established. The province does have a guideline for how to deal with that type of situation. And it's if there are 4 dwellings or other sensitive uses from which MDS has to be measured in play, 4 or more, then that new sensitive use is exempt from the MDS. And those 4 to be 4, they have to be in a line between the barn and the new sensitive use. So in this case, the lot. So they have to be closer to that barn than the new house, but they also have to be in sort of a field of vision. So if the other one's closer, but it's on the other side of the barn from from the house that's being severed, it doesn't count towards that 4. So we don't have that situation. The province did take that into consideration. At what point should you just say, well, this barn is already too impacted by existing sensitive uses, so it's MDS is going to be this other use will be exempt. They have factored that into consideration, and this situation does not meet the guidelines that they've set out for that exemption.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? Councillor Westgate?
I'm just wondering if this goes through, does it change the ability for the properties or any of properties around it to build chicken barn or any kind of agricultural?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So from a technical standpoint, you have to measure a distance from that house regardless of whether it's on a severed lot or not. And from a technical standpoint, you measure from the same point from the wall of the house, whether it's severed or not. So I think from a practical viewpoint, the question is if a minor variance were needed for a livestock facility, would a severed lot be more likely to would the person be more likely to get that variance if it's a farm dwelling as opposed to a severed residential lot? And the more practical issue too is it more likely to generate a complaint? So it's not just a matter. Yes, sorry. Your question was, does the MDS apply? So yes, it does either way.
But there would be, I'm sorry to follow up, but there would be no difference really whether it's separated or not, like for the application.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So from a technical standpoint, in terms of obtaining the building permit, it would be the exact same requirement, whether it's severed or not. It's probably more from a perspective if you need a minor variance, then how likely would you be to get it?
Anybody else in council have any questions? Yes, Councillor Manning.
No, I understand a lot of this is kind of to protect agriculture now, but looking at it from the other point, what if somebody was to buy that piece of property, tear that house down and want to build something there? What kind of restrictions would that give them?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if I can just clarify, is the question is if somebody tore down the existing house on this lot and wanted to rebuild?
Do any kind of building on there that's not agriculture related?
Right. So through you, Mr. Mayor, if they want to replace the house, the zoning bylaw does allow a person to replace a house. And in the case of MDS noncompliance, it does allow you to do that as long as you're not as long as you're not making the distance less than it was before. As a general rule for non-compliant uses, the use should be built as close to compliance as possible, which is not possible if the lot's severed and you don't have that land in behind to use. Does that answer the question?
Thank you very much.
Councillor Morris.
Yeah, back to you, Will, a little bit, following up on Joe's question there. What about an addition? Because I know you can rebuild on the footprint if something happened to that house. But let's say they want to build an addition on that. Is that restricted by the MDS?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, additions are exempt from MDS.
Anybody else on council? Yes, Councillor Morris.
I guess question back to Colin and Jen. If this zoning is approved, you realize that you can't build on that section of land. Okay, but if the zoning is approved and the minor variance is not, you're stuck with the zoning. Okay.
Okay. I think the folks are shaking their head. They agree. They understand. Very good.
Yes, I understand that.
Anybody else have any questions? I guess the comment I want to make is that the premier has made it very clear here in the province of Ontario that there's a shortage of housing. And they're looking everywhere and anywhere to find good homes. This is a good house. I guess my issue is the premier took steps back 2 years ago to start looking at these things and being part of the solution of more housing, and then ran into some issues and they backed off it again. So I guess when we're looking for more housing, when you've got good stock in the community, and you talk about the rules, Will, and I do appreciate your report, and I understand you're giving a professional opinion. But with some of these rules, it looks like they're changing a little bit as time goes on, if I can say it that way. And I just wonder, is there a restriction? You talked about the MDS, it's in place, but it really isn't in place. And again, I'm going to give you a chance to speak to this. Again, I'm just wondering, because I understand the rules have changed. You mentioned that things have changed a little bit within the county and how you look at these things. I guess my problem is I struggle when we don't have a lot of good housing stock. They're struggling to build more houses. And I just wonder about looking at situations like this as being positive and helpful in situations. So I'll let you speak to that. And if you need me to restate anything and ask the question again, I'm happy to do it.
Thank you for the question. So I guess my first response is there is a house there, whether it's severed or not. And there's an argument to be made that, and this isn't a factor in the decision, but there is an argument to be made that there's a greater need for rental housing. With respect to the province looking at changes, when they released the first draft of the new provincial planning statement, they actually were going to allow, as of right, 3 severed lots from each farm. And so they wanted to create more housing everywhere. There was 6 agricultural organizations that jointly submitted a letter to the province under the OFA, categorically saying we don't want this as an agricultural community. The right for people to sever off 3 vacant building lots per farm. And so the province wrote a letter back to the OFA saying that they apologized, that they would not be pursuing that. That letter was posted by the OFA and made public. And then indeed, when the provincial policy planning statement was released in 2024, it removed that provision. So the province in all of the special provisions and allowances that's made to encourage more housing, additional dwelling units, more density, that's always in serviced areas as opposed to agricultural areas or unserviced, partially serviced communities. The one thing that they have done in the agricultural areas, they have allowed additional dwelling units on farm parcels. So you, as a farm owner, you do have a right, provided it's not a farm which has been given the no dwelling zone. You do have the right to have 2 accessory dwelling units, one within the farmhouse itself and one as a detached additional farm dwelling. So that is the extent to which the province has allowed additional housing in agricultural areas. And given that they had proposed substantially more and then drawn back on that, I think it's safe to say that as a rule, the province is not looking to promote meeting that housing crisis, in not promoting it extensively in agricultural areas, but rather within our service communities.
Okay, thank you. Obviously, some very mixed signals have been sent from Queen's Park on this particular issue. We've had more than a few folks that practice agriculture and make their living doing that, asking these questions and trying to confirm this over the last little while. A lot of confusion, but anyways, thank you for answering the question. Does anybody else have any? Yes, Deputy Mayor.
It's more or less a statement. I can't say 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure when the last chicken barn was built where Colin and Jen lived, there was a minor variance created for that to keep that barn closer to all the other barns. So it's a catch-22. So we're in a similar situation now.
For that, Colin, do you wish to speak to that?
Yes, that is correct, John.
You. Okay, anybody else that would like to speak to this or ask any questions at this time? If not, I'll move along through the process. Anybody else? You folks, anything else you want to say? No? Okay. So the public meeting is now concluded. Council may consider passing the zoning bylaw amendment at the meeting or at a future meeting. A copy of council's decision will be mailed to those who have requested notification. Under section 34 of the Planning Act, only certain individuals and organizations are eligible to appeal council's decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal. These include the applicant, a public body, a specified person as defined in the act, or a person or public body who made oral submissions at the public meeting or written submissions to council before the bylaw was passed. A notice of appeal must be filed with the clerk of the Township of Warwick no later than 20 days after the date which notice of council's decision is given. The notice of appeal must set out the reasons for the appeal and be accompanied by the required fee payable to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Appreciate it. So folks, what will happen is there could be a decision tonight, or it could come in the future, but you will be notified of that decision as soon as it happens within 24, 48 hours usually, Heather. So just to let you know, okay? Thank you for coming. Thank you very much for coming. Okay, council, I'm going to take us back to the agenda if I could, please. We have a gentleman out here that's been waiting patiently. So what I'm going to ask, we do have a presentation to Mr. Steve Gay, who's helped us here in the community with our fire related inspections and so on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Brad Goodale and Steve to come up to the front here in the corner, if you'd be so kind. Our system here doesn't really do well at tracking people standing up. So we'll have you two folks come up to the front, and Brad has a presentation he'd like to make in a few words as well. And again, welcome, Steve. Thanks for coming. Brad and Steve, I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Goodale.
Thanks, Mayor Case.
You're gonna have to sit, guys. That's the only way it's gonna catch you.
All right.
That's what we're trying to do.
Thanks, Mayor Case and council. In the event that some of the council have not met our fire inspector, Steve Gay has been with us since May of 2009, and he's currently under contract with us until May of 2028. Saying that, Steve started his career in the fire service September 2nd, 1975 with the City of London. And Steve went through all the ranks of the London City Fire Department, and in the inspection side of things, ended his career there. Not satisfied to sit still, he then moved on in December 1st of 2004. He took on inspection duties with in a big area of Middlesex County, including Strathroy, Caradoc, Middlesex Center, Thames Center, Lucan Biddulph, North Middlesex, Southwest Middlesex, Newberry, and Adelaide Metcalfe. And since then, he's also put the addition of Don Euphemia Township in 2010 and is running through on a contract there until 2027. So with all these years of service, Steve still maintains in the fire service and qualifies for the years of service within the province. So it gives me a great honor to present Steve with his 50th year of service bar, along with his 45th, his 40th, his 35th, and his 30th year. So he's got lots here to go. And as well, I'd also like to give Steve a companion brooch for his wife, which goes along with the years of service bars from the province. So.
Thank you, Chief. Very nice.
So, and we've got you a new hat too to go along with it.
Excellent. I have lots of hats, I can tell you. I would just like to say the 50 years is an interesting thing. My father worked for 50 years in a business as a photo engraver, full-time. So I never expected to get 50 years, but as the years kept going, I get closer, and all of a sudden I decided, you know, something would be nice to get 50 years like my dad. And so that's where it came from. And I want to say too that I've been here since 2009, and I have really enjoyed my time working with the chiefs here and with the clerk treasurers along the way. And I can honestly say I don't think there's been one problem in 16 years. So and I enjoy what I do. I still enjoy doing inspections and meeting people. And so thank you very much for this. I thank the chief. He had to the fire marshal. I won't go into a lot about fire marshal, but they couldn't even figure out when I was working, or when I started, they couldn't figure out. And I had a 20-year medal in bars, and I have 25-year medal in bars. They still couldn't figure out my starting date. But anyways, the chief managed to get this straightened out. So thank you again, and thank you for council for doing this today. It's I appreciate it.
So we'll give these guys a chance. Maybe Stephanie, if we could get a picture, the two of them could get a picture wherever you would like them. So we'll just take a quick break here and let Stephanie take the picture of Steve and Brad. Thank you very much. Congratulations once again, Steve, on behalf of council. Congratulations. Thank you, Chief Goodhill. I'm going to ask council right now if anybody needs a break before we continue. Very good. Thank you. That's going to take us to 13B on our agenda, council. So 13B is a vulnerable status check, and there's a recommendation to do so. Does anybody have any questions on 13B? There's a recommendation that Warwick Township Council direct staff to develop a policy requiring funding recipients to confirm vulnerable safety sector status. That is the recommendation. Councilor Moore.
Yeah, personally, I think this is not something we should get into. This is the service clubs and schools and stuff like that. I don't think we need to be into this.
Thank you. Somebody want to speak to this?
I'll speak to it. We're a funding partner for various different organizations. It's going to be a self-declaration. We're not going to look for them. We don't want to collect them. We just want to understand whether or not they've gone through it and whether or not they are screening for it. I just want to make sure we have it on file. That's all.
Okay. Anybody else? So again, it is a recommendation. Doesn't mean council has to approve the recommendation. It's totally up to council. There's nobody wishing to make the motion. We will just continue on the process. We'll just receive and file it. Okay, maybe could I have a motion to receive and file so it's on the record, please? Councilor Westgate, did you have a question?
Yeah, have we any liability if we don't pass this?
Right now, we don't, but it's a step to mitigate our exposure, which is why it's there.
Okay, any follow-up, Councilor?
Maybe I'll make the motion and see if I can second this.
In the motion to approve the recommendation?
Yes.
Very good, sir. Do we have a seconder? Do you want to second it and then we can put it on the floor for discussion? Okay, seconded by Councilor Manning, and you have a question, Councilor Manning.
So I actually discussed this with Trevor earlier too, and I had the same worries that Councillor Morris had, but he clarified it to me that this is just very small, and it's not, because I was worried about our service clubs too. So I just want to say, going into this, I will second it, but I don't want to second it based on that we're going after the service clubs to have this paperwork. So Trevor did a great job of explaining it to me. So.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other discussion on this one, Council? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Okay. We're going to go to 13C now on the agenda if we could. And this is the flexible working arrangements, and this is a lot to digest. It's a very big file. How does council wish to deal with the recommendation, or is there any questions on? Pardon me? Oh, yes, we have to lift it from the table because nope, you're right. There was a date affixed to it. If there wasn't a date affixed to it, well, you still have to lift from the table, but it was to this date. So we have to, a motion to lift the table before we discuss it. Deputy Mayor Kallenberg, seconded by Councillor Morris. All in favor to lift? Very good. Now, go back to what I said earlier. How does council wish to deal with this? There is a recommendation here. Is there any questions around the recommendation? Councillor Morris?
I got a bit of a concern that I don't know if this is public knowledge or in-camera knowledge. This is people's jobs and their working hours and stuff like that. Some of it I agree with, some of it I don't. But I don't know if it's an open council or an in-camera council meeting or and I'd like to get the rest of council's opinion on that.
Or just my 2 cents before I go to Councillor Manning. It does not specifically name anybody within the report. So if it was naming names and specific people, I would agree with the in-camera portion to a point, but because it doesn't, I don't think that it warrants it. But at the same time, it's a good question. Councillor Manning?
I agree with Councillor Morris on this. I think, I don't know if necessarily a decision, but I think for us to pick this apart a little better, it would be a lot better policy to do in camera and for us maybe to come out with some recommendations or at least to have a clear discussion and then possibly some more recommendations or then go through it again out of camera for the public's sake. Because I do believe in transparency, but some of these things can be pretty sensitive issues.
Thank you, Councillor. Anybody else? I'll go to the author, not to put him on the spot, but I'll go to Trevor and ask Trevor to comment, please.
I wholeheartedly agree with council. It is a heck of a lot to digest. And I didn't know whether or not it should be open or in camera. I think names, I kept it very general just for that reason. I have no concerns how council wants to address this. I think the idea of it is, at the end of the day, I look at it as a CAO, but also as a treasurer. During the treasurer's function, the main thing is I present you a budget. You have to make sure you have understanding of how we're measuring to that budget. And this is something I see some gaps in. And I'm just trying to close those gaps and also provide a mechanism whereby I report back to council on a quarterly basis if and when we're running high or running low, so you have more information rather than less information. I didn't expect it to go through today. I'd be lying to say if I did, but it's part of the conversation. How do we get it over the finish line to make sure that everything is fine? I've had conversations with council members on it. There's been some great suggestions in it. One of it being that this is policies that get reviewed at the start of every term of council within the first quarter. And it gets readdressed every time. That way, at least you know what you signed up for 4 years. We've been kicking this around for 3 years and haven't come to an agreement on it. It's not going to get resolved today. Whatever council wishes to do, I'm fine. Let's work through it.
Anybody else have a comment? I guess maybe my suggestion would be, being that there's a little bit more information that potentially needs to be looked at or at least considered. There's nothing wrong with having it tabled again. I guess for additional review is how I would kind of suggest. And with additional review, that we don't have to set a date to it. It could be brought back when Trevor is ready to bring it back. At the same time, I do know we have to deal with this. We do have to put this to bed eventually. But my suggestion would maybe to have another tabling motion to table it for additional review. And then Trevor can work through it and deem what needs to come back. And if there is something that needs to be in camera, he can discuss that with his team and bring it back. I know it's not an in-camera item when you don't name individuals, but I understand the sensitive material that we're looking at. So that would be my suggestion. I'll even make the motion that we table it for some additional review if there's a seconder to it. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Kallenberg. No debate on a tabling motion. So I'll call the question. All in favor? Anybody against? Oh, that's carried. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go to D if we can. This is the occupational health and safety policy. And there's a recommendation that Warwick Township Council approves the occupational health and safety policy 20, and that the mayor and clerk sign and seal the policy. And that staff post the policy at all workplace locations. So that is the recommendation. How does council wish to deal with this?
I make a motion that we accept the recommendation.
Councilor, do we have a seconder? Councillor Manning is seconding that. Any further discussion on this one? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, that takes us to E. And this is the community shredding option. We talked about this a little bit with identity fraud and all this good stuff. That's not good stuff, but all the stuff that's floating around there was something that was suggested by the public. And there is a recommendation here that Warwick Township Council direct staff to provide space at the township office for a community shredding during the week of June 8th to 12th, leading up to the spring cleanup day. That is the recommendation. How does council wish to deal with this? Councilor Moore?
I make a motion that we do it and it's advertised well.
Sir, do we have a seconder? Councillor Manning, thank you. Any further discussion? Deputy Mayor.
If we have a space here, I guess my only concern is it's gonna be a locked space that, you know, nothing, we're not in trouble if something gets out.
Please.
What we'll do is we will put it in a bin when somebody comes in, wheel it in, then we'll move it back behind our locked doors on a regular basis.
Other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. And the recommendation is that Warwick Township Council approves report P&D 01-26, Community Improvement Plan Committee recommendations, and that the applicant and for a facade signage grant for $1,016.16 for 494 Front Street be approved, and that the grant approval be conditional upon entering a letter of understanding agreement with the Township of Warwick. So that is the recommendation for F. How does council wish to deal with that recommendation? Councillor Westgate.
I just have a question here. It says it's for Front Street, but it's for the building on Main Street.
Yes.
Stephanie?
Thank you, Councillor Westgate. That is a typo and I'll make sure that the contract is stated with the correct address, which is 5303 Nauvoo Road.
Good pickup, Councillor Westgate. Good pickup. Okay. I'll ask, anybody else have any questions on this? It is part and process of the process that we've created with the CIP, but if there's any questions, we can entertain them. No? Okay. Okay, Deputy Mayor.
Make the motion, we approve it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Takes us to G. This is the Sports Wall of Fame. Great idea. It's also a community wall as well. And there's a recommendation here that Warwick Township Council directs staff to implement the Warwick Township Sports Wall of Fame program. So that is the recommendation. The report is there. Any questions on this particular piece of business, council? How does council wish to deal with the recommendation?
I'll move.
Deputy Mayor?
I'll move, we go ahead with it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Seconded by
I
Councilor
second
Morris.
the motion.
Any questions, further discussion? No, seeing none. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And we're going to go to H, and this is the Library Foundation. And there's to fix it, repair it, and the recommendation is that Warwick Township Council approves the recommendation of MTE Consultants and awards the contract for the Watford Library Foundation interior wall repair in the amount of $101,710 excluding HST to Innovative Construction Services, Inc. That is the recommendation. There also is an option that Township Council could refer this report and project award recommendation to the 2026 budget as well. So there's two parts of it. You can award it now, or you can send it to budget for approval. That's up to council, whatever council's wishes are. Westgate.
Just wondering if we could get a little description of exactly what they're going to do.
Ryan, please.
Thank you, Councillor Westgate. So further to the tender, just some high level work that this project will entail includes masonry work to the mechanical to mechanically connect the exterior west masonry wall back into the building. The existing ties and connects have either deteriorated or rotted away. This mechanical connect will include some steel ties to pull that bowing west wall in. That's one of the bigger pieces, as well as replace the original connections, as I mentioned. Some localized brick repointing, both interior and exterior of the building, including some work around the window lentils that are cracked and failing. And the interior base work. So in those rooms on the west wall, interior and the lower level, where the brick, both the interior wall and the exterior wall in the inside is dry, crumbling, failing, beyond repair, without some extensive work done, which this project would do. So that work forms a big piece of this project. So a lot of work in the interior, most of it taking place along the west wall.
Thank you. Councilor Westgate.
Well, it's just the west wall you're fixing, the foundation. The rest should be okay.
Yes, just to further add, you're right. Most of the work is taking place on the west wall, especially along the foundations. They are going to be doing a little bit of the brick repointing at the front side of the building, taking a look at some of the window lentils and some more superficial brick repairs. But yes, the majority of this project is the west wall foundation.
Thank you, Ryan. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, how do you wish to deal with this, council? You can, yes, Deputy Mayor Cowan.
If we wait to refer to budget, will it drag out the contractor's timeline?
Ryan?
Thank you, through the mayor. Yes, it could. It could push it out up to maybe a month or two. Not the end of the world by any means. If we were to award it today, we'd simply get in that queue a little bit faster. Still anticipated to be done in conjunction with some other work potentially in the spring, early summer. But yes, as per any contract, the sooner we can award it, the easier it might be to get first in line in that queue.
Anybody else have any questions? Yeah, Councilor Morris.
Well, we all saw the library and the wall, and we know it has to be done. My understanding is this has come in lower than what we guesstimated it at. So I'd like to make a motion that we proceed and do it now.
Okay, so a motion to approve the bid amount. Councilor Westgate, you're seconding that? Very good. Any further discussion on this one, gang? Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And then we've got, we go to I, and this is the revitalization project. This is that there's a recommendation that Warwick Township Council receive the Watford Library redevelopment report as information and consider it for the 2026 budget deliberations. Who would like to do the honors on that? Councilor Morris, moving it. And second by Councilor Manning. All in favor? Thank you. And that takes us to J. This is the sidewalk snow removal update. There's a recommendation that Warwick Township Council provide staff with direction on property owner responsibilities for this one. This is a big one. And this is something we dealt with not that long ago. And I think Councilor Manning brought up the fact that the bylaw should be revisited. And I think everybody agreed 100%. Who would like to comment on this one first, if anybody? Councilor Manning.
Seen as the one that wanted this up for review, I'll open up with it. I think one of the biggest issues with that bylaw we had following the public notice that we issued about it, and a lot of people not being aware of the bylaw, was the time frame. And it was a 2-hour time frame after snowfall. That's kind of an ambiguous term sometimes. It's also puts a lot of pressure on people that don't have the capabilities or the contracts to do it. I see the recommendations that were made here really helps address that, opens that time frame up quite a bit. Also, one of the issues I understand with the time frame, limited time frame, is that when we have businesses in town, they do have a little bit more responsibility. And again, the recommendation seems to catch that responsibility. I like the idea of putting it out to marking our boulevard, possibly our main street, as a special selected area, that they do have just a deeper responsibility to make sure the safety of their areas, because obviously it's more public. But yeah, the biggest thing was that 2-hour window, and I would like to see that addressed as it is in the recommendations here.
Thank you. Councillor Morris.
I like the idea of I like the Berrywood, the one you gave example of. I agree with Councillor Manning totally. The 2 hours is not realistic. I'd like something in there to point out like the commercial and institutional people in the township, like so the medical center, the churches, the schools, and Main Street businesses, not only Main Street, but all businesses are under the same policy.
Thank you, Councillor. Anybody else? Councillor Manning?
Yeah, to further some of that too, I don't know if this is there's a way we could word it, but I also know there were some issues with the fines. Some people felt they're a little steep, especially with that 2-hour window. I know that the policy kind of offhanded was to repeat offenders. So I'd like to maybe have kind of a tiered system or something, and maybe different on I don't know exactly what, but maybe the different for the businesses, maybe a little more, I don't want to say aggressive, but maybe a different approach with them as to residentials, where we do have more of a warning system, that just to let them know they should be on top of it. Yeah, that's it for now.
Okay, anybody else? So what staff is asking us for is direction on how to proceed. And I agree that the timing of trying to get your snow removed was never going to be achievable. I know we've never, ever given out a fine, to my knowledge, on this bylaw. And I think it's a rather aggressive timeline. There's no doubt about it. I would have been guilty, as I said at a former council meeting, of not having mine done in that time limit as well. So I would have been guilty as charged. So I agree that the timing and maybe the fine needs to be revisited as well, but you still need a bylaw that has at least some rules and regulations. And I think that's what they've attempted to do. Kyle has attempted to do with his report. And I thank him for that. I think what they're looking for us today is how do we want them to proceed? You mentioned the timeline, talked about the fine. Is that something we want them to go back and bring back something to us? They've given us kind of information. I don't think on the fine, I don't remember reading anything. Kyle, maybe you could help me out a little bit if you don't mind, please.
Thank you. Yeah, so there's no mention of the fine within the sidewalk update, so that can be revised in accordance with council's wishes. I was looking for direction because every municipality has a different way and means of snow and ice removal for their sidewalks. Some close sidewalks, some only maintain a small segment. The Barrie one, as an example, has the onus on the businesses in that downtown core to remove it by a certain time. So I was looking for direction on, do you want a geographical segment divided out? Some looked like it was based on class of the property, if it was a business as opposed to residence. Just want to look for direction on how to rewrite it in accordance with the direction you're providing. And because there's no standard to go from, everything was pretty varied.
Okay, well, thank you, Kyle. And I know what you're looking for, some direction from us, and I think we're trying to give it to you, but we're kind of all around a little bit here. So I will ask Councillor Morris, did you have another comment? Then I'll go to
One, I would like to see for repeat offenders, something in there, some kind of fine for these buildings that are maybe owned by people in bigger cities and are not being rented out right now, that they're not getting done. I think emphasis needs to be put on some of these repeat offenders.
you, Councillor Manning.
And to pile on to Councillor Morris's thing there, I think we should also make it very clear, because I know one of the issues we had was contractors for some out of town owners were actually taking their snow and piling it onto our sidewalks. So I think that should also be either defined in the bylaw if it isn't already, or be defined as well where the snow is actually placed after being removed. Because they were removing it from their parking lots and piling it onto ours, and then making it our problem and almost impossible for our machinery to get through it. And after the fact, even after we were cleaning the sidewalks, they were still putting it on there.
Thank you. Anybody else? I think part of this though is our service delivery process as well. I mean, it's always been noted, we've always stated it, that roads always come first. That's our number one responsibility. When the roads are done and the guys take the appropriate time off, because they only can work 13 hours at a time, they'd have to take some time for downtime. That's the law, in the province of Ontario. But I think we need to look at our service standard and what we want. I think that's a big part of it. And when you look at some other municipalities, you'll find there's everything under the tree. You've got some that will maintain maybe like 2 sections of sidewalk. I think our neighbors to the south in Brook Galveston only maintain certain sections of sidewalk, period. We've always done the sidewalks here. We have 2 schools in town. It's important for the kids to be able to get to school in a safe fashion. I don't think anybody's suggesting we change our model, but I think we have to state what our service model is, because if we're going to up our service model, that means adding extra resources to be able to get them done sooner. So I think that's part and parcel of it too, Kyle, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's correct. To get a consistent level of service that we're providing as a township as well. The minimum maintenance standards kind of lays out our responsibilities on our side.
Thank you. Councillor Westgate.
I think we need 2 sections at least, industrial and commercial. I think should be done within 2 hours probably of the snow stopping or of the business opening. If the business open, they could at least clean the residential. I know there's some people that aren't able to clean their sidewalk, and we try and get that done as soon as we can. But I don't think we want to put restrictions on ourselves to do the sidewalks when we probably got a road closed or a street that's not open. We need to do our streets first, and if we have time, we get to the sidewalks. But in front of the arena, we should stick to the same as the residential and industrial. And the only thing that bothers me is there's certain areas of Main Street that really nobody looks after, at the crosswalks, at the and I'm not sure exactly how we're gonna do that, whether we can have our guys do it or whether they'll be busy on roads.
Yeah, I think it's a good point made that there maybe has to be 2 standards, if I can put it that way. I also do agree that not everybody can get out and clear their sidewalk. We have an aging population. We have people that are just not able sometimes, and we provide that service. So again, if we state that we want our service is we're going to remove the snow on the sidewalks as a municipality in a certain time, we're putting ourselves in the corner as well. It's always been noted, as I said, that we would get to the sidewalks as soon as the roads are done. But at the same time, expecting somebody to maintain or to clean those sidewalks off hours after a large snow event isn't realistic either. I'm talking about residential areas. One of the models I think suggested 48 hours that I saw that you brought forward, Kyle. But at the same time, maybe is this enough? Are we giving you enough in this discussion, Kyle, to go back and bring something back to us, or are you looking for a little more yet?
Would it be safe to say you're looking for me to distinguish between commercial and residential, have 2 different timelines on that? The timing I heard was within 2 hours of business opening or within snowfall stopping. And then potentially some relief depending on the quantity of snow. There's a definition for a significant weather event for snowfall that has a certain amount of accumulation. If you hit that threshold, we can declare a significant weather event, and it just suspends those timelines without penalty, and it can be reinstated once that declaration is ended. There's no restriction on how many times you can use that, and it accounts for the more extreme snowfall events if there's a large amount coming down. And just for your consideration, the Barrie example, there was no timeline on residential removals. It just had, the bylaw was only for the downtown area. So it seems like to me, we're looking for a requirement for business owners and institutions to have a timeline. And all others, we would basically roll into the minimum maintenance standard timing of 48 hours after snowfall finishes. Is that kind of aligning with what you guys are looking for?
Thank you, Kyle. I'll ask the question to the group. Is that what everybody's kind of thinking? Counselor Manning, please.
All of that sounds exactly what I was expecting, except for the only one I kind of get a little stuck on. Maybe we need a bit of a discussion or whatever is the opening. Because the problem with that is that we would like to see our entire boulevard cleared. I mean, that's the idea, is that we have a walkable to get from one business to the next. If we have a business that's closed or empty, then we have an issue where we have gaps in that and we end up with ice. So maybe make the opening a little less ambiguous and have a time frame in there. Like maybe after sunset or sunrise or something like that. I don't know what exactly, but just that opening could be a sticky issue.
Thank you, Counselor Manning. Anybody else? So Kyle, I'll ask the question again. We're searching for some direction. Did we give you the direction you need to come back with something else to us?
Yes, on the timing piece, on the fine one, I'm gonna have to get more clarification, maybe that kind of a separate discussion, because I believe that's covered under the fines bylaws, so it can be separated from the snow removal piece and get that clarified and then work on revising the other piece separately.
Counselor Morris.
Regarding the fines, Kyle, is there something we could put in there that, for repeat offenders, council has the option of putting a fine on, or can you do that? Or does it have to be one clear path?
I'm gonna have to refer to legal guidance on that. I don't know if we can do that.
Counselor Westgate.
Maybe instead of imposing a fine, if repeat offenders are not clearing the sidewalk, we have something in there to say that we will do it and will be charged to their tax.
Good idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so good discussion. Kyle, did you have another comment?
I can look into the one where we basically bill them the cost of the service of removing the snow if they fail to do so within the time dictated. Is that kind of what you're looking for?
You're asking Counselor
That-
Westgate?
No, that's what I'm asking, but we don't necessarily have to do it ourselves. We have contractors in town that will do it for us.
Okay. So we've kind of went around on this one. Does that give you enough? I know there's nothing worse than being sent to do some more work and you don't have everything you're looking for. Did we give you enough, Kyle?
I think so, at least a first attempt. You guys can review and comment.
That was a good response. Thank you. Okay, so what we've done is we provided information, so we should, I'm just taking a look here, council provide. I guess we provided it. Do you want a motion with all that in it or just direction? Maybe just easier direction? That'd be quite a motion if we tried to put it into a motion. So that'll be direction to Kyle. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, council. Good discussion. Does anybody have any new business for today's council meeting? I know we talked about council items. Don't see any at this time. Okay, very good. So I want to thank everybody who's joined us for today's council meeting. That ends the public portion of our meeting. I'm now going to ask for a motion to move into an in-camera meeting of council pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended for the following reasons. Number 1, 4, 5, and 9, and 10 of the Municipal Act. Who would like to do the honors? Councillor Westgate is moving it. Councillor Morris is seconding it. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you.